Okay, good morning, Sue. I'm doing your video review from your lesson yesterday and pointing out the reminders. I'm giving you a few reminders of the things that we pointed out. I didn't get your email until late last night, so I didn't get it out as early as the others, but here we go. I think you have a good swing and you have a good sense of the game, and I think you have the potential to play better. And the first thing that you have is a good setup. I like a lot of the things about the way you're set up, particularly the extension of your arm. Your arm. So if you look at a good setup on a professional, it looks like a Y, like a slanted Y. So the most important thing about that is that the club and the left arm are one straight line. Okay, the only thing I would change slightly about your setup is I would not get too wide. For you, I probably would go in just a little bit, and I'll explain why in a minute, but everything else about that is pretty good. I can't remember if I adjusted your grip. I don't think I did. But what we're looking for is a little what I would refer to as tightening up of your swing. Okay, and connection. Some connection. So I'm going to start with the face on here. Now the length of it is an issue. One of the issues that you had is you said I hit the ball fat at times, and there's two reasons why you would hit the ball fat. Number one, you have a mildly what's called early release in your golf swing. I'll show you that when we come down. And the other one is the further back it goes, when the desired length might be for an iron 3/4 of a swing, perhaps at the most. We might think that let me try to find you one here. We might think that, well, like if you watch very capable players, they are no further than that generally. So that would help you right there. The other reason that you would, I started to say there's two reasons you would hit fat. Number one, you have an early release. Number two, the longer the swing goes in the backswing, the more likely it is to bottom out here. Okay, so you know what we're trying to do is get that club so that it bottoms out in front of the ball. Her divot is here. The ball's there. So that's partly because she has such a later release and great movement through the ball. But it's also because of that 3/4 backswing. The shorter the backswing is, the more likely it is to end up here. The longer it is, the more likely it is to end up there. So that's what we're going to keep working toward is getting that swing to the point where you have more we call it tightening the swing. Like I think that would be plenty for an iron. The T-ball is a little long too, but it plays a little different role in the T-ball because you're actually hitting up on a T-ball. You're not trying to hit down. But the shots where you don't hit perfectly clean off the fairway, the length can play a part in it. So let's work for a little shorter there. And women are much more flexible than men. The other thing I really want to work with you on is getting you to move through the ball better so that we can get a little bit more consistent with this. Okay, so you're plenty flexible enough to be able to work through the ball. See where you finish, where your weight is perfectly placed over your left foot. That's a good finish. You just have to get open like that a little bit earlier. And we're going to strive to get this off the ground a little bit sooner. See, she's pre-impact and it's already starting to kick in. This knee is starting to go toward the other one. The left hip is already well open. The right heel's off the ground. This is what we call turning through the ball. And this would be a big area for you to work on so that at impact, her body's pretty well open. And this is the area that club golfers, even better, more experienced club golfers like you and Chuck, tend to lack is the drive of the body through the ball. And without that drive, your bottom of your swing arc is going to be all over the place at times. So what we want to try to do is get you a little more solid through the ball. And we start with, first of all, we have to change nothing about that setup. Your lie angle of your clubs is another concern. When you go home, you may get that checked. They're slightly upright so that when you set the club down, it's already looking a little left. And since you fight left, at times we should look at that. I don't think that's a big issue, but I think it's worth mentioning. Here's another connection point. You see where your hands really work away from your body there. So I bring up another one. This is where you start to get a little disconnected and where we could really tighten it up. It would help us shorten it. It would help us get the club down on a better angle and in a better direction. So we want to try to maintain, let's see if I got one here. The distance from the body going back as much as possible. See the club circle to the inside. She's turning her right side, right? She's turning her whole right side away from the ball so that it has to go this way. There's no other way that it could go. And you see the distance from, we'll do it this way. Boom. This is big for you, Sue, because if you start disconnecting your arms from your body, see where you're set up? You're in a perfect setup position to have a connection between what your body's doing and what your arms are doing. I think of it, it's often been described as the dog wagging the tail, and the inside moving the outside, right? The core moving the distal segments, all that stuff. You can't just swing it out there all by itself, because then your body is kind of not supporting it, not supporting the motion. Look at the distance increase there, how much you've come out of that circle. So we're going to start working on getting it in. We're going to keep working on getting it inside your hands a little bit earlier. And your hands not going away from your body here. want you to take notice to this model on the right. You see her left arm on her chest? That's what we really need to work on. Your club, if you look at her club here and your club there, it's probably 5 degrees more open. And this has a lot to do with it. The other wing that would open is your grip, and your grip is fine. So that's going to be a big part of your connection. It's also going to keep us tighter at the top, not get so loose at the top. If I had to describe your swing in one word, it would be loose. At times disconnected. Some would say it's all arms, but it really isn't all arms. It's you're turning fine. Your shoulders are moving nicely. Your chest is turning here toward the camera, but your arm, it's not connected to your body. So that's got to get in there tight. Okay, so that's real big. The other way we're going to do this is, do you see, again, 3/4, this is a different swing from before, but that would be plenty for an iron, much more predictable. And she's there, and this arm is almost 15, 20 degrees more vertical. Okay, plus the wrist hinge at the top. So your shoulders are a little flat. If you look at her shoulders, they're kind of on this pitch. Your shoulders are a little more on this pitch. So by getting that a little steeper, getting the left arm on the chest so that we get the hands like in this area, not up here too much. It's all going to be tighter. You're going to have the ability to try to come down and get in better impact position more regularly. There's a much better delivery position when the club's down in here. And there we have the impact that I'm referring to with the body. Okay, so if I go over here and I set that silhouette address. Now the camera in this case is perfectly angled. It's on a perfect angle, and it's also perfectly still. So you can see that there's no movement of the camera here, but there is movement of the body. That great setup that you had is lost when the body lunges forward up on your toes, the legs straighten, and the hands go out from the body. Now as she comes down, you see the body starting to open, and there's the turn. Watch. That's really what I want to work for you. If I could get your arms a little more connected to your body, I can get you to turn through to control the club. That would take care of so many thin and fat hits for you, in addition to releasing the club, which we got onto right away. But none of it's going to be, maximum or optimized if we don't get you to feel the arms connected to the body and the body really turning through. So your legs stay stiff. And then just to show you that you can get to where we want to go, you get there at the end. So all we have to do is get your swing shorter, arms connected to the body, and your ability to turn through the ball. Get into this position where the body's facing the target. Bring it down on a little lower plane and we're all set. Okay, so that's your swing. I would call it loose and disconnected. We're going to try to tighten it up. All right, I'll see you in a little while. I hope you get this morning before class.